right, hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Roy Confino and I'm Director of Solution Architecture. I've been in the DealHub for the past 6 years. I'm very excited to be here. We have another amazing webinar for you. It's about a very important capability that I really think can help your DealHub experience and can really help you scale your businesses and make your quotation more flexible and also easier. So what are we going to be talking about today? Let's look at our agenda. Today, we will be talking about the concept of systems. We will discover what these systems are. These systems will be in a single quote, and they will help you quote different variations within the same quote. Don't worry, we will get into more detail about it. Then we will go and see what use cases we have with this capability. These are the use cases that we've seen most commonly being used. Of course, everything that I will be presenting you today is very flexible. It can be customized for your business needs. So after this webinar, you can contact with your CSM and they can help you with it. But these use cases will also give you some idea of this capability and hopefully spark some ideas for your organization. Then we will jump into the demo side of it. We will go over these use cases. We will see how they're looking. Then we will discover some technical concepts. Again, in today's webinar, I'm not going to delve into too much technical aspect of things, but we are going to be talking about concepts such as system variables, general system ordinals, global question group, and what is a non-global question group. So we will all discover these. We will see how they're configured. Again, not too much deep into it. And at the end of it, in each demo, we will see, okay, we have this configuration, but how does it look for our clients when we're sending out a deal room or a PDF quotation? All right, so what are these systems that I'm talking about? Sometimes I will be referring them as tabs as well. Basically, they will allow you to create different variations in the same quote. So these variations could be that we will see today, but again, it could be very customizable. We will be seeing, okay, what if we have different years, how we can use multi-system for this multi-year approaches. Then we will also look at if we're a global company that's selling to different sites, different cities, different locations, different divisions, we will also discover how this capability specifically can help us with this methodology. And at the end, we will also jump into builds. The builds aspect will be more about we have a certain machine, and that machine can have some add-ons, and then we can see using multi-system how we can achieve these multi-builds. So 3 different interesting use cases. We will see each one of them, and I think they're very, very important. Any of them could be used, so let's see how they will be. Okay, so I will just repeat what are the use cases that we will see so that we're aligned on it. We will see one company that's selling different locations. We will see a company that's doing a multi-year quotation, and we will see different builds, different machinery in the same quote. These will be the demos that I'm going to be presenting you today. All right, let's jump into it. We have a lot to cover, so let's go jump into the DealHub. So my first demo will be about the multi-year. So multi-year will be about, we will have year 1, year 2, and year 3. And of course, we can have subsequent years as well. We will see how we can use the multi-system capability to do the multi-years. So we will go in here. We will answer some questions such as opportunity type, business type. Again, all of this is very customizable for you. Here, the important question will be the duration of the contract. Here we will have a start date for the whole contract, a certain length that is spanning through the whole contract, and we will have the end date. For today's purposes, I'm going to put 27 months. Once I put 27 months, we get a yearly increase question and the important information. So the yearly increase question will help us to put a default increase to each subsequent year after year 1. So if I set a 5% increase, then year 1 products will not get that increase. Year two products will get 5% on top of year 1, and year 3 products will of course get year 2 increase, and the year 1. So it's all go in a ladder fashion. But we will also see in a given year how we can also customize this yearly increase. So this level will help us to have a default one, but we will also see how we can customize it for each year. And then we have here the important information question. In a second, this will also make much more sense, but let's go over it. So we have 27 months. And usually in SaaS companies, or any company per se, we would want line items to be 12 or less than 12 months for ARR purposes, for renewal purposes, and etc. So in this aspect, each year can only have up until 12 months. So the system is telling me you have 27 months, so you need to open 3 tabs in a fashion of 3, 12, and 12. And we will see that also. So here I have my solution section. And here in the solution, I will choose enterprise. Again, there are some questions. This is very flexible for you for your own environment. Then we will also add add-ons. Okay, so now here we see start date, end date, and the duration. As you can see, that 3-month component, sometimes it's called quota months, is going to the first year. Of course, we can be very flexible, and that 3-month component can go to the last year as well. But for today's purposes, we will keep it in the first year. And you will also see service and support products. What is going to be interesting about service and support, we will only be selling service and support for year 1. So we can also call them one-time fees. And when I open year 2 and year 3, we won't be seeing this question group. So I'm done with my year 1 configuration. Everything is great. Let's go and open year 2. As you can see, instead of pressing the plus button, I pressed on the 2-pager button. What it allows me to do is, I have my year 1 configuration, and I want to copy it to year 2, instead of just opening it from scratch, making the selections again. So I'm just pressing the duplicate, and the new tab with the relevant information pops up. Again, we have our set of questions, same with the year 1. What is different here? First of all, let me set here 5%. First of all, we will see that the start and the end date are automatically calculated. So let's go back to year 1 for a second. As you remember, we are starting on June 18th, and the first 3-month component went to year 1. So that first year, that first tab is ending on September 17th. So if we go to year 2, we will see that it's starting 1 day after September 18, 12 months, and then September 17, as you can see, 2025, of course. And here I have the year increase. It was defaulted from the general questions, but I'm still flexible in adjusting that as well. And I don't see the service and support question group because after year 1, in this scenario, they're not relevant. But of course, this is fully customizable. So let's go and open year 3 as well. So what happens in year 3? Again, September 17, 2025, subsequent year, September 18. And here we have the year increase. This is on top of 5% that we have from year 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 0. And once we go down in the product summary, we will be able to see what is the differentiation. You might be asking, Roy, what if they open a 4th year? What if they're doing that mistake? Of course, we have guardrails in place to prevent that. So if I open year 4, which is an extra tab that I don't need, then the system will give me this nice warning. It will warn me. And I also know how many tabs I need to open. And if I want to proceed with this quote, and if I press submit validation, submit proposal in an active version, I will get the error message. So don't worry about with this, because we will have the necessary guardrails in place that there's not an extra tab or one less tab. So they will be all in place. I will just delete it. Perfect. So we see how we are moving across the years in a very easy and very fast fashion. So now let's see how our product summary is being populated. So we have year 1, year 2, and year 3. As you can see, the standard support product is only being populated in the first year because that's how we set it up. Here you can see the relevant dates, and we can see all the products that we configured in year one. What is very powerful about this capability is if I want to set a certain discount on year one, or I want to set the net price of the year one or year two or year three, I don't need to go line by line, check which line belongs to which year and etc. I can just go to the relevant tab, put my discount in, and I'm done. So this way, I can easily control which year I want to set the discount and the price. And here also in the product summary, we can see that we have year one ARR, year two ARR, and year three ARR. So these are also custom calculations that we can access to that specific year, calculate the value, and also synchronize your CRM. So you can always see for a given year, what was your ARR. And we can do this for any value. Let's see at the end of this tab structure. So we have the year two and year three as well. And a little point, of course, as you can see, the year two price is equivalent to year three price, but they are 5% more than the year one. Why? Because in year two, we set 5% increase, but in year three, we put that to be 0. So if I go to year three now, I'm in year three, and if I change this increase to be 5%, what will happen? Of course, the year two will get another year three will get another 5% from year two. So this will also help your business to scale in a way that you can have these yearly increases, and then this can help your profitability. So now let's go see how our clients will see this year structure. Again, everything that you're seeing here, also the deal room, very flexible. So if you have any different ideas, you can always consult with your CSM. So at here, we will see the pricing table. This total pricing table that you will see is up to you to present it or not. You can even ask a question to your sales rep if they want to present this total tab or not. And we can be as flexible as possible, putting this total tab to be the last one as well. So here you can see year one, year two, and year three. So when our clients are looking at this, they can easily see what's going on in each year. And also in the CRM, you will be able to see for each product which year they belong to. While we're in the year concept, I want to take a second and look at some of the technical aspects of the multi-system. One of the aspects is, and while I'm creating the code, maybe you had that question as well. Some questions are inside the multi-system and some are not. So this is the concept of global question group versus a question group that is inside the system. So a global question group, what it does is it applies to the whole quote itself. So it's not specific for a certain year, certain location, or a certain build. They live outside of the system. And you can be flexible to choose which question group will be global and where to place that global question group. Is it going to be before the multi-system or after the multi-system? So that's very easy concept, also very easy to set, but very powerful and important, such as financial terms, which will apply to all years, doesn't need to be inside each year per se. So that's the global question group versus a question group that is inside the systems. Another concept that I want to talk about is system variables and general ordinals. So let's look at the ordinal. Maybe I'm creating the quote. You also realized I had this ordinal question showing up. If I go to year one, what will happen? Ordinal will be 1. If I go to year two, ordinal will be 2. And yes, you guessed it correctly. In year 3, ordinal will be 3. And of course, if I had the 4th year, ordinal will be 4. Why the ordinal is important? Or as you can see, how I automated these dates, the start date, the end date, depending on the contract start and contract end date, I've depended on the ordinals because they're helping me to configure a certain mechanism or a certain rule depending on which system I'm at. And we will see a small example of it as we will also see a small example of it. The other concept that I want to talk about is a system variable. System variable allows you to aggregate values from each system. So basically, it's kind of like a generator that you input a value that is inside the multi-system, and it just sums it up across the systems. So what is a very common use case of it? I want to know how many years I have opened. Very basic use case. In order to do that, what I'm doing, and I will show you also the back end of it in a second, I'm setting up a question called counter, which will always be 1. So what will happen is, in year 1, counter will be 1. In year 2, it will be 1. And also in year 3, it will be 1. When you sum these ones, you will get 3, which will be your total systems that you open. You can use this for many applications. It doesn't need to be just a counter. You want to know the total platform licenses across all years. So you can just input this into the system var, and you will be able to aggregate that value. Some of you might be asking right now, but Roy, why you couldn't use the ordinal for it? Because ordinal is just telling me where I am at the moment. It's not telling me the distance I've traveled. So in this aspect, if I was summing up the ordinals, I will get 6, which will not give me any value in this concept. So just to summarize this concept, because it's very important for us to know, system var allows us to sum up values across the multi-system. So in this case, with how many tabs open, it's the distance I have traveled, and ordinal is telling me where I am. So this is a very, very important concept. So I'm glad that we also touched upon it. Let's go to the backend of DealHub. So in the backend, what I would like to show you, and you can also see this world icon, that means that that is a global question group. Then I'm in the multi-system. So let's take a step back and let's see how I calculated the system variable. So as I told you guys before, I created a counter, which is 1. And then what I did is I went to the playbook settings. I went to the multi-system settings. By the way, if you want this for your organization, this multi-system configuration, this is where you enable it as well. Here you have a very simple checkbox, and you can also put a certain name for it. So I create a counter here. I pressed add multi-system formula, and then I inputted the counter. So now it knows how to sum it across. Just a little FYI, you cannot use a system variable inside the playbook because it will be a circular dependency. But anywhere else, approval workflows, output documents, even in the product, you can use the system var. So we have created this system variable. Now you might be asking, how do you call it? What is it called? Where do I find it? So let's go to this screen. Here, as you can see, I've inputted system var.counter. So from now on, wherever you are in the system, except the playbook, of course, the moment you search for system var, you will automatically see that parameter you created. So you always have access to system variables. And this is how we can use system variables. Of course, there's more complex use cases, more ideas that we can throw around, but very essence, very fundamentally, this is how you can create a system variable. Another concept that we talked about was the ordinal. So let me show you. I'm not going to get too much into detail how I automated these dates. Of course, your CSMs will help you with that as well. But I just want to show you one thing. Here, as you can see, I'm using the ordinal. So let's just look at this rule real quickly, how I set it up. So as you remember, that co-terming month, that remaining portion from the durations, they always went to the first system. So how did I sustain that? I said, if the ordinal is equal to 1, if I'm in the first system, then what you should do, and if it's a 36-month contract or over, I should reduce 36 months. So it was a 38-month contract, I would reduce 36, will be remaining 2, will go to the first ordinal. And as you can see here, when the ordinal is greater than 1, we are presenting 12, because after we dealt with that co-terming part, the remaining part, the subsequent systems will be 12. So this is very important. I'm very happy that we touched on the system variable and the ordinal. If you have any questions, let us know about it, of course. This is, in a nutshell, the multi-year. We will now see multi-location and multi-build. I would say multi-year is more a sophisticated approach. So in multi-location and multi-build, we won't need this much configuration, but don't be alarmed. It's not also too much. So this is a very fast configuration. We will help you with it, of course, if you need it. So now let's look at multi-location. So now we're shifting gears. We are not looking at the dates anymore. We are now focusing on the locations. What does that mean? It means that we are the same company still, but instead of selling it to multi-year, we are selling to multi-locations. For our purposes today, I put some cities from United States, such as New York, Miami, Washington, Dallas, Denver. So I will choose actually Dallas. They had an NBA final loss, so maybe they'll be happy. So here I will put Solution Enterprise. And what happens here is my first tab is for Dallas. So anything that I'm quoting is going to be shipped to Dallas and will be presented under the Dallas location. What is interesting here is in the output document, I will also, when it's syncing to the CRM, I will not rely on the tab names, because the tab names, I cannot put a parameter. But as long as I have a question that is inside of the multi-system, I can use it in order to determine what system I'm using and in order to separate the output document table. So we have here Dallas. I will duplicate it. I will choose Miami, and then I will choose New York. So at one glance, I've just created 3 different locations with 2 clicks. So let's see what happens in the product summary. Same structure, location 1, location 2, location 3. But what is interesting here is we have a location attribute. So this location attribute will allow us to present the relevant products under the relevant cities. So let's look at our output document, how it's being presented. By the way, the location can also sync to your CRM. Once it syncs to your CRM, you can see easily which product is under which location. And now when we go to our output document, we will see Dallas, Miami, and New York. So very easily, our clients can see for which locations, which sites, which divisions, they're getting the relevant products. So multi-location is faster, as you can see. We configured it in a very fast fashion, and here you can see it as well. Let's jump into multi-build. All right, multi-build. Now we need to switch our gears a bit, because now in multi-build, we will be a machine company. In this one per se, we will be a printer company. If you're familiar with machine businesses, these big machines, the printers and etc., usually you have a hardware that is like the header hardware, and you'll add some add-ons to it. And not each add-on is compatible with each hardware machine. So we will see how multi-system, by combining with product filtering capability, will help us achieve that. By the way, if you're not familiar with product filtering capability, we have a webinar about it. I'm strongly suggesting it. Great capability, can be a game changer for your organization. All right. So here I have the printer options. I have HP, Toshiba, it really doesn't matter. So I will choose my printer and I will press select and add products. So here we will just see HP, relevant HP products, relevant HP builds, add-ons, sorry, that we can configure our build. So here we are choosing it. We can also set different quantities for it. And now, instead of pressing two-page button, I'm going to be pressing the plus button because I don't need my options to be duplicated from first tab to second tab. Once I open that, of course, there's a default value to the printer. You can set it to be not any default. That's also up to you. We will choose Toshiba 2V color. And now let's see. What happened is, instead of getting HP add-ons, I'm just getting Toshiba add-ons. This way, in each tab, in each system, I can easily configure my machine, and that can have a unique configuration. When we go into the product summary, same thing, right? We have configuration 1, configuration 2, and they can all sync to your CRM in order to see which header machine and which add-ons belong each other. Here also in the output document, we're going to see something interesting. We are going to see one of our relatively new capabilities called group line items. Group line item allows you to consolidate your multiple lines into a single line or a single line with some information on it. So let's see it, and while we're there, I will be explaining a bit more about it. So as you can see here, I have one line item. It is an amalgamation of other add-ons and the header item, and it's just considering as one line. So when our clients are looking at it, they can just see one machine, the relevant add-ons, how much quantity I put for those add-ons. This quantity here that you see, it's not the quantity of an add-on. It's the quantity of the configuration. So if I wanted to sell 2 of these, that quantity would be 2. And we will just see one net price. So this capability also allows us to have these different displays to our clients. And by using the multi-system also, we achieve this nice view. Our clients can easily see the machinery that we're selling to them, and they can, at one glance, see what's going on in that machine and those add-ons as well. So these were our demos, and we also spoke about the concept of system variables, ordinals, global question groups. These are very, very important concepts. I hope these demos and some of the backend configuration that I've showed you gave you some ideas on how you can use it for your organization. I believe there are some questions in the chat that I'm seeing. So we can take the first question. We are waiting. We just got the question. Yes?
Sorry. So how do you differentiate between the system and the CRM?
Great question. I also briefly spoke about it a second ago, but let's deep delve into it because very important concept. What I've did is I've created a proposal attribute. If you're not familiar with this word, you can check with your CSMs. They can also help you with it. What I'm doing is I'm setting this proposal attribute, and this proposal attribute could either be fed by a certain question from the multi-system, or it can automatically take the system's name, which is called an item system name. Then I'm syncing this to my relevant CRM. And in my CRM, you can easily differentiate it. You can even create list views that are just depending on this attribute. So by this way, at one glance, you can easily see which products belong to which system. I hope that answers the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have another one. How did you add the professional service only to the first system?
Great question. And this brings us another great application of the concept of ordinals. Because I'll just show you the ordinal and how I used it to set up the dates, but ordinals could be used in other cases as well. They can help you with the yearly increases. They can help you with how you're presenting your output document. And to respond to your question, ordinal can also help me set question group presentation rules. So if I go into the PS service question group, and if I open the question group itself, we will see that ordinal is equal to 1. So with this way, I can easily set when this question group will be showing up or not, in which system it will be showing up or not. Was there another question?
Okay, so we have
Perfect.
another question. How you set up the global question group?
All right, so as you can see, we have this kind of a globe icon. And when we're adding a question group, the system already asks us, do you want to create a global group or not? But once a group is set to be non-global or global, you can always go and change it. But we need to be very careful, and we need to always have this in our minds. A repeatable question group cannot be a global question group. I will repeat this again, because then I will tie this to the service and support aspect again. A repeatable question group cannot be a global question group. So because of this, when we have service and support products, and they're usually repeatable question groups, just to show them in the first system, we will put system ordinal is equal to 1. So it's kind of combination of the two questions that you asked. When a repeatable question cannot become a global question group, the only way to make it appear only once was setting up its question group rule to be ordinal equals to 1.
Okay, great. We have another question. How can a customer select which configuration they are selecting as part of the order?
So what we can do is, once they get this kind of deal room, I don't have it enabled. This is not a live deal room, so we don't have it. But we also launched a capability called Deal Room, Deal Talk for Deal Room. By using that, they can communicate which one they would like with their sales, with the relevant salesperson. And that salesperson can go back, maybe delete the other two that is not necessary anymore, and they can submit the quote, and the deal room link will stay the same. When they get the deal room again or refresh it, they will just be prompted with the option, offer, year, whatever you call it, that they want to see, and they will be able to sign it. So it's all about communication between the client and the seller.
Great. I think it's connecting to the next question is there a way to limit which line items are synced to your CRM for multi-option deals?
Yes. So at any given CRM, we can install a package that's a delete line item package. And while doing so, that packages work looking at a certain proposal attributes. So how you can do that is, you can even ask a question to your sales rep. You can automate it to be the first one to be the primary always, or the other ones not. So what happens is, the one that they want to sync, the line items that they want to sync, they will all get a certain proposed attribute value. It could be yes or no, delete or not, as you would want it. And the rest of them that you want to delete will be no's or delete or etc. Then we will tell that package, we are giving you an attribute and we're giving you a value. Look at that value, look at that attribute, and if you see that they're matching, delete these line items. Why we're doing this? Why we're not deleting them in DealHub? Because in DealHub, you did the multi-offer. You want to see your multi-offers. But during that multi-offer process, if you have 3 of them, you don't want your opportunities or deals in HubSpot, for example, to be over forecasted. That's why we are only syncing the first, like that's our recommendation, just the first one, or the one that the sales rep is choosing. And so that way, during the negotiation process, your forecast won't be overloaded.
Okay, we have another one. How do you show multi-year in the order form? Could you download the order form and show how it looks?
Sure. So I just showed you guys the deal room. I will preview the PDF as well. So basically, it's the same with the deal room, but with the biggest difference is in the deal room, we have year 1, year 2, and year 3 in a tabular fashion. But in the PDF itself, we will see them breaking down to year 1, year 2, and year 3. Here, I'm not showing that example because I didn't configure the PDF, but order forms are very easy to configure. You just need to use the same methodology that I did on the deal room just to separate by a proposal attribute. So they will be shown as year 1, year 2, and year 3. I hope that answers the question.
Amazing. Okay. We have one more.
Sure.
That's it. Okay.
Shoot away.
The other one we're gonna answer back to you. We're gonna go back to you and answer it. Phase selling of users. Can you pull information from one group to another, starting with 10 users, then phase 2, adding another 15 user, but pulling the 10 user from phase 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, it's a bit of a trickier configuration, but that's exactly what I'm doing with the yearly increases as well. Because as you remember, my yearly increases carried over. And if we look at the backend just for a second, again, I don't want to get too much into technical, but you know I like this stuff. So, so for example, here in the yearly increase, what I've did is, you guys, when you're looking at it, you only see 1 year increase question. But in reality, there's 2 questions. There's the year 2 increase and there's the year 3 increase. Year 2 increase only shows up in year 2, and year 3 increase only shows up in year 3. So what I'm doing is, secretly, I am capturing the value from each ordinal, each system specifically, then I'm using them together to get to the certain increase. So here, for example, you can see year 2 increase and the year 3 increase. So you can do the same with your users, with the numbers, and etc. So that's where the ordinal play comes into action. No more questions. Great. Closing, I want to first of all thank Moshe Korach and Gal Bahar. They're sitting with me in the room. Without them, these webinars won't be possible. So huge thank you to both of you. We will be continuing with our webinars. And also we have some exciting updates. We're launching DealHub 2.0. I cannot give too much spoilers, so stay tuned. And the ones that are watching, the ones that are admins, we're also launching the certification for the admins. Again, I cannot give too much spoilers. I did the exam. I wrote the exam. Let's see if you can beat me. And hopefully you enjoyed this webinar and hope to see you in another one.